Being in the dark with Ethan didn't sound so shabby. Girl, ew, no. Ugh. So today we're diving back into the world of teenage pranks and mysterious murdered twins in suburban Arizona in the next installment of the Lying Game series, Never Have I Ever. We're following Emma Paxton as she's forced to pretend to be her murdered twin sister, Sutton Mercer, in order to solve Sutton's murder. This story just expands the world that Emma's been dropped into. As she tries to survive Sutton's complicated social life, she uncovers a lot more about Sutton's past and tries to avoid a mysterious stalker of her own. Now, if the last book asked why we don't believe women, this book tells us why women don't feel safe coming forward to begin with. Now, we'll see this as Emma navigates a social world that she doesn't understand, where people's behavior doesn't really always match what they say. And of course, there's homecoming. It's always homecoming. Before we begin, a quick content warning. This book will touch on themes of murder, assault, abuse, sexual violence, including implied sexual violence. So continue at your own risk. We open our story after the disastrous birthday party from the end of the last book. Emma, Madeline, Laurel, and Charlotte are all gathered at a country club for a post-birthday party brunch. Charlotte declares Sutton's 18th birthday party a success and asks Emma what she thinks. Madeline interrupts with a flip comment about Emma running off while spiking the group's drinks for some impromptu Bloody Marys. Emma responds with a comment that she hopes is appropriately snarky and Sutton-like, saying, "Oh, did you miss me? Or were you nervous that someone dragged me away and left me for dead in the desert?" Now, she's suspicious of Sutton's friends and she scans their faces for reactions, but they don't give her anything but resting bitch face. Just then, Ethan sends a text to Emma. He's the only one who knows Emma's true identity, but he sucks hard. He dragged a scared woman into the middle of the desert after she asked him blatantly to take her someplace else, and then isolated her under the guise of asking her a question. Barf. The girls notice Emma blushing upon seeing the text, but she just ignores them as they make fun of her. They continue to ask her about Garrett, and then she dodges that question as well. Just then, Madeline's father makes an appearance, and the table dynamic quickly shifts into awkward silence. "Daddy!" Madeline exclaimed in a shaky voice, her controlled, cool girl disposition instantly melting away. "I didn't know you were going to be here today." Mr. Vega gazed at the half-drunk glasses on their table. His nostrils twisted as if he could smell the alcohol. The smile remained on his face, but it had a false edge that made Emma uneasy. He reminded her of Cliff, the foster father who sold used cars in a dusty lot near the Utah border, and could swing from volatile dad to smarmy ass-kissing salesman in 4 seconds flat. Mr. Vega was silent a moment longer. Then he leaned forward and squeezed the top of Madeline's bare arm. She flinched slightly. "Order anything you want, girls," he said in a low voice. "It's on me." He turned with military precision and started back toward the brick-arched doorway to the golf course. "Thanks, Daddy," Madeline called after him, her voice trembling just slightly. Madeline's reaction to her father is not healthy or normal. This is a kid who's guarding themselves. No one flinches like that unless they're expecting something worse. The girls don't say anything. They just kind of keep looking around awkwardly. I mean, they could start with, "Madeline, are you okay? You look upset." Maybe she'd say nothing wrong, but the point is just to show her that somebody noticed and show her that she's not alone. The tension becomes too much for Emma and she excuses herself and heads to the bathroom. In the bathroom, she tries to settle down, but a country club employee approaches Emma and asks her if she's Sutton Mercer. When Emma says yes, the employee gives her a Tiffany box. In it is a little charm in the shape of a train and a note that reads, "The others might not want to remember the train prank, but I'll be seized by the memory always. Thanks!" Next to her, Sutton, in her ghostly tether to Emma, has a quick memory of a train and flashing lights screaming in chaos before the memory cuts out. Later, Emma meets Ethan at the tennis courts in the Mercer's neighborhood, the one with the pay-by-the-half-hour lights. Ethan asks if they can leave the lights off, and Emma feels a little bit of excitement in her belly. Emma nodded, feeling her insides leap. Being in the dark with Ethan didn't sound so shabby. Girl, ew, no. Ethan asks Emma what the train prank is, and she doesn't know, explaining she was hoping that he would know. I guess with his encyclopedic knowledge of Sutton's every move. He explains that no, his personal Sutton Mercer iceberg doesn't go that deep, while casually using Emma's actual first name. And of course Emma responds positively to this. He's positioning himself to be the only one she trusts. It's manipulation. Emma's heart tugged when Ethan called her by her real name. It was such a relief. But it also felt dangerous. The killer had told her to tell no one, and she'd broken the rule. Emma is catching feelings for Ethan, while Sutton, her invisible ghostly tether, is just hovering above. She gets a pang of longing while watching this all unfold. It's interesting because Sutton is literally living vicariously through Emma. She's watching this while realizing that she herself is never going to have these moments again. Well, the reason for them meeting is Emma's gone through all of Sutton's communication, and she's narrowed down the date of Sutton's death/disappearance to the night of August 31st. Ethan, despite promising to help Emma with this, questions her logic. She shows him the message that Sutton sent her on the night of August 31st, and what does he do? He asks her how she knows if that's the date that Sutton disappeared if she sent that message. Ethan, come on, bro. It is so easy to impersonate someone online, especially on Facebook. All someone would need to do is hack Sutton's Facebook account by using her password. And we've established already that her password is auto-saved in her phone. Plus, I haven't signed on to Facebook for a hot minute, but last I checked, I don't know if they're really exactly requiring multi-factor authentications. Or maybe they are, I don't fucking know. Ethan is doing an absolute shit job at supporting Emma. He's questioning literally everything she tells him. He's acting like a defense attorney cross-examining a witness on the stand to poke holes in their testimony. Calm down. You're not legal eagle. Emma thinks nothing of this and explains that Sutton is whatever the 2010s version of chronically online was. She never missed a phone call or text message, and if she did, she would return the call or message right away. On the evening of August 31st, her phone showed a lot of missed phone calls. Ethan points to a Facebook post on August 31st that says, "Ever think of running away? Sometimes I do." He acts as if they haven't already established this basic fucking fact that Sutton is deceased. I accidentally muted myself because I got I got a little too riled up. And now he's trying to poke holes in Emma's logic. Sir, seriously, you were the one that convinced this scared girl to stay in Tucson because you had said you would help her with this ad hoc investigation. He asks her about the note Sutton wrote to Emma, telling her to come to Tucson, and she explains that she believes it was Sutton Killer who wrote the "come to Tucson" message, and possibly the running away post. Ethan and Emma go on to discuss the alibis of the lying game members. When Emma asks what he was up to that night, he says it was the first day of the Perseids meteor shower. Liar! Perseus is gonna come down from the heavens and turn you to stone with Medusa's head. Lucky for you, I did some research, because I don't suck like fucking Ethan does.
Sometimes meteoroids travel in packs. When that happens, we can get meteor showers, many dozens or even hundreds of meteors per hour. With one exception, those don't come from asteroids. They come from comets. When a comet orbits the sun, the ice on it turns to gas, dislodging dust and gravel mixed in. This material leaves the comet and tends to stay more or less in the same orbit as the comet itself. Over time, that material gets scattered all along the orbit, creating a puffy ribbon of tiny pieces of space debris around the sun. When the Earth plows through that cloud of debris, we get a meteor shower. From our viewpoint on Earth, we see meteors shooting across the sky, apparently radiating away from a single point. That's a perspective effect. It's like driving through a tunnel and seeing the tiles on the wall and ceiling flying past you, all apparently coming from a point ahead of you. The point on the sky where the meteors come from is called the radiant, and the shower is named after the constellation the radiant's in. So we have the Perseid meteor shower, the Leonid.
The Perseids peaks in mid-August, and the best viewing time in the northern hemisphere is pre-dawn hours. So, here's what I found. in 2010 when this book was published. The Perseus meteor showers were between the dates of July 23rd and August 24th, with the peak being August 12th. Fun fact, let's see, in 2025, the Perseus were active between July 17th and August 24th, with the peak of the shower being August 12th through the 13th. And here in 2026, so the peak is predicted for 2026 to be on August 13th, so the mornings of August 12th and August 13th are your best bets. August 14th might be good as well, but be aware that the Perseids tend to fall off rapidly after their peak. I have another source from the Planetary Society. Thank you, Bill Nye, the science guy. The Perseid meteor shower peaks every August and one of the best showers of the year, with around 50 to 100 meteors per hour at the dark site. The Perseids are caused by debris from this comet Swift-Tuttle. The comet's 133-year orbit carries it out beyond Pluto. It last visited our inner solar system in 1992 and won't be back again until 2125. That's interesting. Where was I? The TLDR is Ethan's a fucking liar.
Why the fuck you lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying.
I keep muting myself on this damn microphone. Look, it could have been just an overlooked thing on the author's part, but if Ethan's gonna have a fucking flimsy little alibi like that, it deserves to be called out. So they do some social media stalking. Emma finds a tweet from Madeline to Charlotte on the night of August 31st that says, "Thanks for being there for me last night, Char. True friends stick together no matter what." Ethan tells Emma that she doesn't have to solve this murder by herself. Really, you could have fooled me. They almost kiss. But then Emma sees cell phone light from behind a tree and their little moment is interrupted. Monday morning, the Lion Game Quartet is in pottery class. Emma has a very un-Sutton-like moment where she's a pottery whiz, which she kind of is. It's something she picked up while she was actively avoiding a toxic foster home situation in her previous life. Laurel notices, and this causes Emma to purposefully ruin her piece. Besides, Emma actually has some important business she needs to attend to, so she pivots the conversation to suss out Madeline and Charlotte's alibis. She asks about when was the last time she got her hair highlighted, suggesting it was August 31st, but Madeline refuses to engage. Emma then pivots to discussing pranks, and when she brings up the idea of abandoning a car on train tracks, the group falls silent, and Emma knows she's hit a nerve. Very funny. Charlotte slapped her clay down with a thwop. "No repeats allowed, remember?" Laurel hissed over her shoulder. Madeline swiped the back of her hand across her forehead and glared at Emma. "And are you hoping the cops come again, too?" The tension only breaks when the morning announcements are read, and the main announcement is about homecoming in the homecoming court. Two of Sutton's friends, Gabby and Lily Fiorello, aka the Twitter twins, RIP Twitter, Elon killed you and I'm still pissed about it, are announced as being on the homecoming court, to the surprise and annoyance of the rest of the group. Now this is where we learn that Sutton and her friends partake in the homecoming planning committee every year, much to Emma's irritation.
Plan a party, Angela. Oh, and the entire world will see it. Oh, and here's $65 for your budget. Oh, and here are 4 idiots who'll do nothing but weigh you down. Oh, and your cat's still dead.
She thinks she's above it all, and internally she admits making fun of girls who participate in that activity. Meanwhile, Sutton is watching everything unfold from the afterlife, haunting Emma, realizing something that Emma doesn't. She'll never experience any of this again. Emma's a bit nihilistic about it, and it's revealing of her character, honestly. She's judging the popular girls the same way she thinks they judge her. Part of Emma's characterization is that she wants to be a journalist someday, and she thinks she's being an unbiased observer. But the thing is, it's impossible to be 100% unbiased. You come to interpreting facts from your own experiences and understanding. Instead of being completely unbiased, you're better off just acknowledging your biases and questioning them, or whatever. That's my journalism degree coming to work, guys. Lily and Gabby text the girls to gloat, revealing that the Lion Game Quartet's biases, showing that they think Gabby and Lily somehow aren't good enough for the homecoming court. The bell rings and Emma's phone pings with an email from her best friend Alex, Emma's best friend. And she feels a pang of guilt for lying to her, but she doesn't feel like she has any other choice since, no one believed her when she tried to reach out for help. So she's stuck performing a one-woman theater performance that no one knows about. On the way out of class, Laurel catches up to Emma and she sees her staring at her iPhone and asks if she's writing to anyone interesting. And instead of answering, Emma just avoids the question. But she's not out of the woods yet, because Laurel has a serious question for her. Laurel caught her arm. "Why did you bring up the train prank?" she asked, her voice hushed and hard. "No one finds it funny." Sweat prickled on the back of Emma's neck. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Laurel's words echoed the note she'd gotten. Something happened that night. Something horrible. So later the girls are on their way home from tennis practice. Emma thanks Laurel for the ride, but Laurel's in a mood and she snaps at Emma about Sutton's impounded car. And she's also been giving Emma the silent treatment ever since the disaster that was ceramics class. Sibling dynamics are a social system that Emma has no experience with, but she desperately wants to understand how to navigate them. When they pull up to the driveway, they find Garrett sitting on the porch waiting for Emma. Garrett is clearly furious. From his perspective, his girlfriend did a complete 180 on him with no explanation. And what he thought was going to be a major teenage milestone, losing his virginity to his girlfriend on her birthday, did not go the way he expected. Emma approaches him and she tries to apologize, but he's just confused and angry. "Last month, you were into this. Into me. Why do you hate me all of a sudden? Is this what everyone warned me about? Is this classic Sutton Mercer?" Again, Emma tries to placate Garrett, but he's just not listening to her. "We're done. I don't want your excuses. I'm not falling for your games anymore. This is just like what you did to Thayer. I should have known." Jesus fucking Christ, my dude. Instead of pressuring a girl about why she doesn't want to sleep with you and thinking it's some kind of prank, I don't know, you could act like you're not entitled to somebody else's body. And I know this is complicated by the fact that it's not really Sutton, it's Emma. However, let's have a serious talk. And let's just consider an alternate scenario where this actually was Sutton and not Emma as Sutton, and Emma changed her mind. There are many valid reasons that she might not feel comfortable going through with it in that moment, despite making plans beforehand. Might I present, ladies and gentlemen, the rules of consent. Number 1, consent must be freely given. Number 2, consent can be withdrawn at any time, for any reason. Number 3, prior interest is not current consent. Number 4, feeling rejected doesn't entitle one to act out in anger or pressure them. This might be like a common trope in YA novels, like this volatile boyfriend, but it doesn't make this okay. His behavior is escalating with more than implied violence. He throws a homecoming dance ticket in Emma's face and gets up in her face, making her clearly frightened. His body shivered with what seemed like pent-up energy. Emma held her breath, acutely aware that she had no idea what he might do next. "Have a nice life, Sutton," Garrett whispered, his voice icy. His cleats made a loud clacking sounds as he stalked across the driveway, mounted his bike, and cruised away. Now, while this has gone on, Ghost Sutton has been maybe coming to the terms with her reality that she might have been cruel and manipulative in her past relationships, especially with Thayer Vega, Madeline's missing brother. But just because Sutton may or may not have behaved honorably or less than honorably in the past, that's not an excuse for violence. Emma goes back inside, but not before she spies a white SUV loitering on the street before it speeds away. Inside, she finds Laurel in the kitchen and she asks who they knew who might drive a white SUV, and Laurel says it's the Twitter twins. This before she pivots the conversation to Garrett, which Emma confirms that they broke up. She asks Laurel if she thinks Garrett will be okay, which is a nice instinct, but girl, he was on the verge of becoming physically violent with you. I think the better question is, are you okay? And then here Laurel explains that Garrett is an enigma to her. He says a cryptic statement about how she wonders if there's something more beneath the surface. Emma asks her what she means, and Laurel avoids the topic and just hands Emma the mail. Emma misreads her actions, thinking that Laurel was suddenly remembering she was supposed to be giving Emma the silent treatment. However, it's more like they've touched on an uncomfortable subject, and it's easier just to avoid it than naming it outright. And while opening up the mail, Emma opens up a credit card statement and discovers what she thinks is a clue for the date that Sutton disappeared. She calls Ethan to come help her decode it. Emma and Ethan's clue takes them to an upscale boutique near the University of Arizona called Clique, and it's here they sell overpriced clothes, including a white cotton t-shirt for $80. Now, because of inflation, that $80 t-shirt would now cost $119.89 here in 2026. Now, the bitchy sales girl notices Ethan while giving Emma the death glare. Her name is Samantha, and she knows Ethan somehow. It's not really clear how, but Samantha is disgusted to know that Sutton and Ethan are friends. She's had run-ins with Sutton before. Emma asks what she bought on the 31st, and Samantha snottily says that Sutton and a couple of her friends were in there and stole a very expensive pair of earrings. When Samantha turns around to do some shop work, Emma gets a very bad idea. She makes a show of shoving a purse under her shirt when she thinks Samantha is spying on her. Of course, Samantha sees this and calls the police. At the police station, Emma is in custody and she's being questioned by everybody's least favorite cop, Detective Quinlan. He very rudely reminds Emma that he has caught her, meaning Sutton, shoplifting before. Emma notices Sutton's record that Quinlan brought with him, so she fakes a cough so she'll bring her some water. When he leaves the room, Emma steals her chance to snoop through Sutton's file. She flips through the page until she comes across a report from July 12th that catches her interest. The report involves a car and train tracks, and listed as witnesses are Laurel, Charlotte, Madeline, and, surprise, surprise, the Twitter twins. The report triggers Sutton's memory and it transports her back in time. In her memory, Sutton and co., including the Twitter twins, are on their way to a frat party at the University of Arizona. They're in Sutton's car, a 1965 Volvo 122S, a car that was 45 years old at the time this story takes place. Sutton perceives this car to be classic and timeless, having restored it with the assistance of her father. Yeah, if you have the time and money to keep up with it, that's great, but if the thing breaks down, getting parts for it is gonna be a bitch. Car, much like Sutton herself, is a curated image. In the car, there's a disagreement about the music, and Sutton is irritated at Madeline for inviting Gabby and Lily along, and she weaponizes Madeline's tense relationship with her father by threatening to call him and tell him where Madeline is. This is just, that's awful. It's especially cruel given the clear red flags that are in this situation. Sutton threatening to call Madeline's father and potentially setting her up for an unsafe situation at home, all because Madeline invited the Twitter twins. The punishment is wildly disproportionate compared to what might be a minor annoyance. So they make it to a train crossing, and the car suddenly stalls on the train tracks as a train speeds towards them. Pandemonium erupts in the car. "Is this a prank?" Charlotte shouts, yanking hard on the door handle, which does not give. "Are you messing with us?" "Of course not." I pull up my handle too. "Seriously," Madeline yells. "Seriously, cross my heart, hope to die." It's our fail-safe code, the thing we're supposed to yell out when something is dead serious. Laurel then calls 911 as the others start to panic, and it's here when Sutton calmly releases the choke on her car and just drives off the train tracks just in the nick of time. Now, to make matters worse, Sutton horribly misreads the situation and says, "Was that the best prank ever?" And here's where I hear Ron Howard's voice saying, "It was not the best prank ever," Arrested Development style. Once everyone is safe, they all tumble out of the car, and Madeline is furious with Sutton over violating the fail-safe rule. Sutton offers to explain how the prank was accomplished. Charlotte reads her the riot act. "I don't care how you did it," Charlotte screams. Her face is a knot of fury. Her hands twisted her sides. "No one thinks it's funny." Madeline then threatens to quit the lying game, saying she's sick of the club and sick of Sutton's antics. Charlotte echoes her sentiments, making Sutton angry, and then she cruelly tells Madeline and Charlotte that there are other girls willing to take their place, and she turns to face Gabby and Lily, but only Lily is there, and Gabby's nowhere to be seen. Now back at the police station, Emma is reading the police report from the night of the train prank, and she's shocked at the detail of the report and shocked at how powerful Sutton seemed to be. And it's at this moment that Detective Quinlan shows back up with the water. He asks Emma why she stole, and she starts out by saying it was a mistake. Okay, has she been read her rights? She's in custody and actively being questioned. If you're being questioned, the safest thing you can do is stop fucking talking and clearly ask for a lawyer. Because once you start explaining yourself, you're no longer in control of how your words are used, because the police can and will use your words against you in a court of law. Your Miranda rights. The law allows the police to lie, whether it is ethical or not. The issue here is what is the gap between what is legal and what is moral. This is why we have the Fifth Amendment. And I think Emma starts to understand this a little better when Quinlan gives her this nasty response. Well, sure, Sutton. Go on home. You're totally absorbed. No consequences at all. Hell, I won't even tell your parents. And it's at this moment that there's a knock on the door, and Mr. and Mrs. Mercer walk in, having come straight from work. Quinlan shows his true colors and proves us again, AFAB, and says the thing out loud. He says, perhaps if you'd kept a better eye on Sutton. We're keeping a very careful eye on our daughter, thank you very much. Mrs. Mercer's voice was shrill. Her defensiveness reminded Emma of visits with social workers when, without fail, no matter whether or not it was true, foster parents defended what a good job they were doing with the kids in their care. I know Quinlan is one of those guys that just has the audacity, well, they shouldn't have been doing blah, blah, blah. Or they should have followed the law in response to police brutality, or like fucking ICE agents murdering people in their custody or murdering citizens who are minding their own fucking business. Ugh. Mrs. Mercer grabs her purse and asks if there's a fine, and Quinlan explains that since Sutton, Emma, is 18 now, a fine may not cut it anymore. There might be more serious consequences in order. They leave, and Mrs. Mercer tells Emma that she better pray that the boutique drops the charges. After a very long and awkward ride home, they go inside to find Laurel home, and Laurel wants to know what's up. The parents demand to talk with Emma alone, and Laurel skedaddles and makes herself unseen. While Emma's looking around, judging her twin for not appreciating the life she had, thinking that she would appreciate this life, Sutton in her ghostly tether wonders if Emma was the one living with Mercer. Would she wind up being killed? And she begins to think that her death was the result of her choices. Oh, we gotta unpack that. That is some internalized victim blaming. So I guess kind of mild spoilers. I've read through the entire series many times and I know the ending. So I'm avoiding obvious spoilers, but needless to say, Sutton's death was not due to any choices that she may or may not have made. The reason was because someone chose to take her life. Enough ranting. Mrs. Mercer informs Emma that she will be grounded for 2 weeks, and Laurel reveals she was spying and protests on her behalf, saying that she can't be grounded. Homecoming's next week. Unfortunately for Laurel, Mrs. Mercer is not fazed. They continue with the punishment. Now, for the first part of her punishment, Mr. Mercer requests Emma's presence in the garage, and after she's in more work-appropriate clothing, Emma obliges, joining Mr. Mercer by a motorcycle in the garage. I'm here, Emma said, feeling a little sheepish. Mr. Mercer stared at her for a few long beats. Emma braced for a lecture, but instead, he just looked sad. So she helps him clear out some trash and other shit in the garage, and Emma reflects that while she's been disappointed by many people before in her life, she's not been on the receiving end of that disappointment, and she's not really sure how to navigate this father-daughter relationship, and she recalls asking her mother who her father was and never getting an answer. Emma surprises Mr. Mercer when she makes a comment about the gear shift of the bike he's been working on being on the wrong side. He tells her that he thought her interest in motorized vehicles didn't go beyond 1960s Volvos. And Emma just says, oh, well, she read about it in an article or something like that. But she actually knows about it because, again, like everything else in her life, she had to learn about cars while in foster care. Mr. Mercer pivots the conversation again and asks Emma why she stole from the boutique. Definitely not dropping the very cryptic phrase, was it because of everything at home? Okay. Come again? Emma not so subtly asked him for more information, but the cryptic comments continue. I know it's a lot to take in. I know you've gone through a lot of changes. Huh? He continues. I want to know what you're feeling. I want you to know that you can talk to me about anything. Care to be more specific, my guy? Late that night, Emma is woken up by the sound of pebbles hitting the window, and when she goes to the window, she finds Ethan standing outside. She goes downstairs to talk to him, and he wants to talk to her about the incident at the boutique, and she tells him about the police file and the train prank. Now, since the train prank was a clear escalation, Emma and Ethan hypothesize that the snuff film was just the next logical escalation. Emma suggests the Twitter twins as subjects as they've been driving around the neighborhood giving her weird looks. And when Emma mentions that she's grounded, Ethan suggests that they sneak into the next door neighbor's pool since they seem to be on vacation. No, he didn't come all the way to the Mercers to talk about the boutique. Boyfriend clearly had ulterior motives. While they're swimming around in the neighbor's pool, they bond and Ethan shares a bit about his family's situation. His father is mostly absent and his mother's a worrywart. Yeah, great. Let's open up now after you've also gotten her alone and emotionally vulnerable. It has the desired effect, and Emma opens up about how she escaped her own mind by pretending she was a reporter at her own internal Daily Planet. Ethan goes on to share about how he was picked on as a kid, but when Emma asks him why, he's really fucking evasive. Why does anyone ever get picked on? Ethan's voice cracked. It was just something that happened. Okay, buddy. Yeah, I got picked on as a kid too, as I'm sure a lot of kids did, and I can tell you exactly why I got picked on. Ethan won't. He pivots to a generic answer instead of actually explaining. Now, this has the added benefit of Ethan sparking that emotional connection to the point where he and Emma almost kiss, but she freaks out and decides not to go through with it, just as car headlights shine through the slats in the fence. Now they leave the pool and Emma sneaks back into the house where she runs into Laurel. When Laurel catches Emma, she notices that she's wet and asks her bluntly if she was swimming in the neighbor's pool with someone named Alex. For a minute, Emma isn't really sure who Laurel could be talking about until Laurel mentions seeing the message on the phone earlier that day. Emma reveals, no, this isn't the case. Alex is the name of a girl. Laurel's not buying it, and she asks Emma if she and Alex were skinny dipping. Emma denies that she was swimming in the neighbor's pool at all at first, but then she pivots and just says she was swimming alone. Laurel sees Emma being evasive and becomes hurt and angry, telling Emma that she's got to spill what she was up to, or else. Emma asks her what the or else could be, and that's when Laurel threatens to tell the Mercer parents about the train prank and what really happened. Meanwhile, Emma's only thought is, please tell me what really happened. The next day, Emma's outside at lunch waiting for the rest of the gang as she studies for a German test. Looks up and she spots Nisha and Garrett sitting together, glaring at her. Oh yes, what a great way to start a healthy relationship. Dating someone because you have a mutual enemy. Yeah, Nisha needs to find a person who likes her for her and not simply because they hate the same people. The minute that loser breaks up with her, she will be his next target. Dump his ass. Garrett gives Emma a look that she interprets as him knowing what she and Ethan were doing the night before, making her think that he was the one loitering in the street outside the neighbor's pool. If that's the case, that's some really fucking creepy red flag behavior. Emma returns their hostility with a passive-aggressive, "Can I help you with something?" Nisha serves up an equally passive-aggressive remark reminding Emma about the team dinner at her house on Friday, all while marking her territory with Garrett. Okay, can we not fight over Milquetoast men, please? Before we continue, I felt like I really needed to add a disclaimer. In no way am I saying that all men are bad. What I'm saying is that the patriarchal systems that benefit men can also hurt them, while they may even still benefit from them. That said, if we want to make any strides towards dismantling the patriarchy, men have to actively participate in resisting the conditioning that those systems create, instead of expecting the women around them to absorb all the emotional fallout. Like you saw, red flag behavior isn't just one bad apple. Those behaviors are reinforced societally and culturally when nobody bothers to call a man out on his bullshit behavior. And I guess individuals are accountable for their own behavior, but individual accountability alone isn't going to be enough if the surrounding systems continue to reproduce the same problematic behaviors and patterns. The TLDR is that we can do better and we should accept better. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Alright, back to the story. Laurel and the rest of the Lying Game gang show up to defuse the situation, and Laurel mutters something to them about the team dinners being mandatory or whatever, and Nisha backs off then. The conversation pivots, and then Emma learns that she missed a party planning committee meeting she didn't know that she was obliged for.
What is that? The committee to plan parties invites you to a margarita karaoke Christmas? There's no such thing as the committee to plan parties.
There is now. We just started it.
And the girls also found out about Emma stealing from Click, an action which they don't approve of. Because Emma's main transgression wasn't the stealing, it was her attempt to steal a Tory Birch bag. Yeah. And this is when the Twitter twins show up, gloating over their homecoming court nomination and annoying the shit out of the Lying Game girls. And then they shift to the topic of another coveted nomination. Not a nomination to the Supreme Court, but a Lying Game membership nomination. Emma says no, thinking that Sutton must have had a good reason for not letting them in. And Ghost Sutton has a flashback with the twins at a sleepover, being shut out of the official Lying Game business. And Lily became upset with her and told her, "Mark my words, Sutton, it won't always be this way." Lunch ends, and Madeline chooses to hang back and talk with Emma. She's questioning Emma again about her odd behavior, and unlike her spa confrontation, Madeline just decides to be direct this time. "You've been weird, cautious, disappearing, and not explaining why, shoplifting by yourself. Char and I think that an alien life form has come down and taken over your body." Thinking fast, Emma tells Madeline that she's just upset that Madeline and Charlotte are getting awful close these days, and Madeline's confused, saying they've always been friends, but then Emma hits her by saying that they've been especially close since the night before Nisha's back to school party. That does it. This brings Madeline to tears, and she shuts down and runs into the library. Now, seeing this, Emma drops the cool girl act and follows Madeline. She finds her in the stacks breaking down, and when Emma finds her, she tells her she's sorry, but Madeline is still upset. She explains that she did call Sutton, but she didn't answer, so she called Charlotte instead. And Madeline ends her speech by telling Emma /Sutton, "The world doesn't revolve around you, you know. I always jump when you tell me to jump, but it would be nice if you reciprocated sometimes. I called Charlotte next, and she stayed with me all night. So yeah, of course we've been tight lately. Satisfied?" Emma feels relieved. This clears Madeline and Charlotte of any wrongdoing in Sutton's disappearance, but then it just kind of sadly shows that a lot of Sutton's relationships are one-sided. It's just a lot of her relationships were built on appearing the right way and not based on actual connection. Might want to keep that in mind as we go through the actual series. So on Friday, Laurel convinces Mrs. Mercer to let her and Emma go to the team dinner at Nisha's house. The Mercer parents allow it because they believe that Nisha is like a perfect queen or something. On the way to dinner, Emma takes this opportunity to question Laurel about her whereabouts. whereabouts. She mentions Madeline and Charlotte, but when she tries to bring the conversation to where Laurel was, she kind of shuts that down and says, are you really asking me about this right now? And Emma's sure she's hit on something, but she's not really sure what. At Nisha's, they're greeted by Charlotte, who reveals that she was the one who made the phone call to Mrs. Mercer this afternoon, pretending to be Coach Maggie in order to spring Emma out of jail at her house. Nisha appears and makes a snarky comment about Emma/Sutton's singleness, saying, "It's the first time since, I don't know, kindergarten?" Ugh. Emma tries to say she's just happy being single. Nisha interrupts her and then tells her, "I heard you wouldn't have sex with him." Oh, great. Emma asks where Nisha heard that, and she doesn't answer because the answer is obvious. She heard it from fucking Garrett. Nisha, this is a flashing red fucking light. If a guy is willing to humiliate another woman to you over their decision to have sex with him or not, he will not hesitate to do the same thing with you. And that's the problem, is the fact that Nisha is willing to go along with this to spite Sutton. This is what we would call patriarchal bargaining. It's where women try and gain status in a patriarchal system by aligning with men instead of trying to tear it down. They do this, even at the expense of other women. But the problem is the system doesn't really reward loyalty, it rewards usefulness. And once you've outlasted your usefulness, you're gone. It's no coincidence that the people who've gotten fired recently on Trump's cabinet are women. They've outlasted their usefulness. Emma removes herself from this situation and begins to snoop around the house, and she notices that Mr. Banerjee's bedroom is a mess and then feels bad, remembering his wife died several months earlier. And then she goes to Nisha's bedroom, which is as neat as a pin and staged to absolute perfection. And she notices a picture up on a bulletin board in the room that's labeled August 31st, and front and center is Laurel. Nisha busts in and asks Emma what's going on, and Emma asks about the picture, and Nisha confirms, a little bit snottily, that it was taken on the night of August 31st, the team sleepover. But she does this not before she gives Emma a lecture about team solidarity or whatever bullshit, and then rubs it in with, "Even Laurel was here." Great. And wouldn't you know it, the woman herself makes an appearance. Laurel is embarrassed, mostly because Nisha and Sutton are mortal enemies, which, I don't know, makes her a scab or something. My god. One of the things that I go down rabbit holes on YouTube a lot is Antarctic exploration. I recently listened to some series about Robert Falcon Scott and Ernest Shackleton. They were on, I think it was the Discovery expedition first together, and then Shackleton got sent home early because he was sick. But they both return and become these big heroes of Antarctic exploration. Eventually, Scott writes a book where he trashes Ernest Shackleton, not unlike Regina George in Mean Girls with the burn book, which Shackleton takes great offense to. But in between the expeditions, Shackleton went on one. He's going around England trying to get men to come on the expedition with him. Everybody keeps saying no, and he just doesn't know why. And then it turns out that all the people that he kept asking, Robert Falcon Scott had already gotten to them first and asked them to come along. They didn't want to tell him because they didn't want to hurt his feelings. Like, buddy, this is Antarctica, it's not the lunchroom. And I'm sitting here laughing, but that's the point. When men do it, that they're great rivals. But if women do it, it's bitchy and catty. Emma is relieved when she hears this because it means she can cross Laurel off her suspects list. I mean, I don't think Laurel's going to be invited on any Antarctic explorations, but honestly, I'm pretty sure Emma has more pressing concerns. Emma reacts to this news by giving Laurel a huge hug, which surprises her.
Okay, we only have 3 hours, people, to plan a whole luau. You're not helping.
The next day, the girls meet at Madeline's house for homecoming planning, and Charlotte, Laurel, and Emma arrive with paint-splattered clothes in a bag and explain to Madeline that this was the ruse they came up with to allow Emma to do the homecoming planning. Personally, I don't think Mrs. Mercer is as dumb as her daughters would like to think. I think she's just choosing her battles. kind of what you have to do in parenting. They need a theme for the dance and the homecoming court party, which is separate for reasons. And the girls agree with my point of view that this is incredibly dumb. Because whose stupid idea was that? I mean, I think I remember in high school that shit being announced at the homecoming football game or whatever. Anyway, Emma suggests a fancy ball for the dead, and then Madeline takes the opportunity to light up a cigarette. While Madeline, Charlotte, and Laurel talk about their dates, Emma is surprised because she does not have a date. It's a very un-Sutton-like behavior, and she explains, well, she was gonna go with Garrett, but then they broke up, and she hadn't asked anyone else. Madeline puts it to her bluntly. Just ask someone, Sutton. Tons of guys would be thrilled to go with you. And this makes Emma think of Ethan. Ew. But she just says, oh, she can't think of anyone, and Ghost Sutton is irritated by this, saying, Sutton Mercer did not go stag to dances. The only place that I went stag was to the bathroom. More rules that Emma didn't know that she was going to need to abide by.
The dude abides.
The girls push back, and Charlotte comes out and admits that Laurel spilled the tea about her midnight dip with Ethan. Emma debates coming clean and confessing that Ethan was the one who she was in the pool with, but she's interrupted when Mr. Vega comes home. This causes Madeline to jump up and try and hide any evidence of her smoking, and then he greets the girls politely enough, but again, his presence just sets Madeline on edge as if she's anticipating something. He smells the cigarette despite any efforts Madeline went to hide it, and then he questions Madeline about it, and then the other girls jump in and cover for her. And then Emma sees Mr. Vega's expression subtly change from stern coolness to barely contained rage, reminding her of another foster dad who would lick his lips before he was going to become violent. Mr. Vega then gains control over his expression, but before he exits the room, he sees that Madeline has the Jersey Shore on TV, and he tells her, you shouldn't be watching that trash, Madeline. Madeline obediently flips the channel before her father leaves the room. Now, the move shifts when the girls get texts from Gabby and Lily, who are still gloating over their homecoming court nomination. But they cross the line when Gabby texts this. I guess the L in lying game stands for loser. Oh, that's lovely. The girls decide they need to knock the twins down a peg, and they convince Emma to call them to tell them the wrong court party thing. They tell them it's a Titanic meets Baywatch, and they tell them to wear a skimpy bikinis. Emma isn't really sure, but Charlotte spills the tea that they were the ones who were shoplifting with Sutton on the day of her death, and force her to do it despite her reservations. So when they get on the phone, Lily tells Emma something that frightens her. Wow, Sutton, you're good at this. Keep up the good work. Which Emma interprets as, good job, Emma, pretending to be Sutton. So on Tuesday, the Mercer house is empty as the parents are out to dinner, and then Laurel is seeing Les Mis with a friend.
My place is here. I fight with you.
She'd given Emma tickets to see Les Mis for her birthday.
Tomorrow is the judgment day. Tomorrow we'll discover what our God in heaven has in store.
Which I'm jealous. I want to see Les Mis. Les sigh. Anyway, Ethan messages her and tells her he's taking her out and tells her to dress up. You know, he's hot on the case, that Ethan. Ugh. When he arrives, he immediately blindfolds Emma, and then Emma makes the mental note that this seemed a lot like a date. And there it is, because that's exactly what this fucking is. He's taking her to the opening of a photography exhibit, something he knows she loves. That tells us everything we need to know about his priorities. He's not helping her solve anything. My suspicion is that he wants or wanted to date Sutton, and Emma is just a convenient stand-in for him. And he basically admits that when Emma asks him, what does this have to do with Sutton? Well, nothing. I just thought it would be fun. Just like you thought that getting her into the pool with you would be fun too, right, Ethan? Emma manages to bring the topic of conversation back to the ad hoc investigation, explaining how she thought that Gabby and Lily were the suspects. Gabby and Lily killers? Ethan tilted his head and squinted as if he were trying to picture it. Those two are definitely off kilter, that's for sure. They have been for years. Emma skirted around an enormous potted plant with spiderly leaves to get to the next photo. Part of me thinks they're too vapid to pull it off. Ethan shares some details about the twins, including a very specific detail about them making up strange nicknames for each other. Gabby Pony Baloney and Lily Tallywhacker. They were dirty. That sounds like normal kid behavior. Kids pick words that they think are hilarious. Right now, my 5-year-old thinks that PP is the funniest word ever. And no matter how much it annoys me, I just have to grin and bear it. Because if I encourage it, he will never stop saying it. Another thing is he's not just sharing information, he's confirming a bias that she already has, and the information he's feeding her serves just to steer Emma in the direction that he wants her to be in. She asks him how he found out about the event since he seems to be anti-party and all. His pick-me-boy attitude comes out when he tells her, I'm not. I'm just against the kind of party with spike punch and body shots. It's so juvenile? Emma filled in for him. Oh my god, he is so above it all. Give me a fucking break. The whole, how do you do, fellow kid shtick is getting on my nerve. After a bit, they spot Nisha and her father and they panic. They run out of the museum and sit on a city bench, and then she tells Ethan that she's sure Nisha spotted them, and when he asks her who cares, she responds, I care, Emma answered. She'll tell my parents I snuck out. Once again, he has ulterior motives. Are you sure that's all that's bothering you? Ethan glanced to her out of the corner of his eye. You wouldn't mind if she saw us together. Emma's stomach flipped over. No, of course not. Would you? Ethan stared at her without blinking. What do you think? They have an almost moment, then Emma turns away, and instead of respecting her boundaries, Ethan just gets annoyed with her, telling her it seems like sometimes she wants it and then sometimes she doesn't. Dude, you fucking suck. You're not respecting any of her boundaries right now. It sounds like you're pushing her to tell her that she wants you, which pisses me off. You're not entitled to her affection. You've manipulated her into being the only person that she confides in. She said that to you multiple times that she doesn't feel safe and that she doesn't feel safe pursuing a relationship when she does not feel safe. Ugh. And now she's telling you, okay, well, she may have feelings for you, but she doesn't feel like she can or doesn't want to. He's just a fucking piece of shit. What's happening here is very important, and I'm being very intentional to point out this red flag behavior. The next day, Emma and Laurel come home to find Mr. Mercer has returned from work early. Emma worries that Nisha has ratted her out, but Mr. Mercer isn't coming to scold her. He actually has good news. Frau Fenstermacher, the German teacher, called the Mercers, letting them know that Sutton earned a 99% on the most recent quiz and had the highest grade in class. Laurel is shocked to hear this. Heat rose in Emma's cheeks. Laurel swung around and stared at her in disbelief. You? Mr. Mercer then hits Emma with an, oh, by the way, you're not grounded for homecoming, and here's your phone back. Yay. Emma isn't really excited, but she just plays the part. Emma squeezed Laurel's arm and let out a squeal too, knowing it was the right reaction for Sutton. Homecoming was the last thing that mattered to her right now. Laurel can barely contain her excitement, and she convinces Mr. Mercer to allow Emma to go on their post-homecoming camping trip, and then Laurel gets excited and asks to borrow some shoes for the dance. Now, before she goes in the house, Mr. Mercer stops Emma to have a heart-to-heart. He tells her to call Garrett and let her know the good news, and then she tells him, oh, she broke up with him. Girl, maybe you should tell him about the red flags he was exhibiting before you broke up with him. Someone needs to have a conversation with you about this shit, really. Like, if something happens like this again, then you've, I don't know, confided in an adult who can interfucking-vene. Emma then admits that she actually likes someone else. It's a bit awkward, being that she's never had a parental figure who actually gave two shits about her feelings before. Seems to be a bit awkward for Mr. Mercer, too. Opening up to adults wasn't something she'd ever done before. And by the cautious look on Mr. Mercer's face, it wasn't usual for Sutton either. He asks a few more questions, and Emma admits that she's having a hard time trusting people, and then the conversation turns awkward again. A pained look Emma couldn't quite gauge crossed Mr. Mercer's face. You should trust people, Sutton. You shouldn't let awkward... He sticks the landing, at least. I only want what's best for you. If it's meant to be, honey, it's meant to be. Emma is so overcome with emotion that she gives Mr. Mercer a hug, which also seems to surprise him. Now it's Thursday, and it's time for the homecoming court party, which is being held in the auditorium after school for, I don't know, fucking reasons? Again, this is so stupid. There's a bunch of flittering about, everyone's getting ready. Laurel does her best to redirect the Twitter twins for the prank, and someone dressed in a costume with full corpse makeup makes a comment to Charlotte about how the party planning committee isn't wearing the costume, saying, "We'll look uglier than you." And Ghost Sutton, watching this unfold, thinks that's the point. Yeah, Sutton's just up here like Mystery Science Theater 3000ing her own life. Instead of like a bad Godzilla movie, this is their own life. Now, the Lion Game girls are gearing up for the prank on Gabby and Lily, and then Madeline says, "This is gonna be so good." I hope so. Charlotte stared at the velvet curtain that separated the backstage from the front, a serious look suddenly crossing her face. Just as long as we don't land Gabby in the hospital again. Madeline stiffened. We didn't land Gabby in the hospital. Sutton did. Emma understands that they are referencing the train prank when they both turn and give her the death glare. There isn't really much time to dwell on it. Charlotte starts directing the party and the ceremony, and the Twitter twins make their way out of the dressing room and discover they're the butt of the joke. But they came prepared. The girls have stashed some backup dresses that they can slip on right then and there. Gabby takes this opportunity to gloat. "We're not as stupid as we look, Sutton. You of all people should know that." Well, the show must go on. But before it can go on, Lily says she forgot her iPhone and runs off stage, much to Madeline's irritation. The situation escalates when there's a subtle sound of a light fixture breaking overhead. And this is where this performance becomes dangerous, because Emma isn't just playing Sutton socially anymore. She's living inside the consequences of her life. And she looks up to the rafters just to see a stage light hurtling towards her. My God, it's like fucking Phantom of the Opera up in here. She faints and then she tries to call for help, but she loses consciousness. And before she loses consciousness, she sees Gabby off to the side shaking a pill bottle, which sends Sutton back into her memories. Back in Sutton's memory, the girls are frantically searching for Gabby. When they find her, she's completely unconscious near the underpass, and then Gabby suddenly starts moving. She's having what they call a tonic-clonic seizure, or formerly a grand mal seizure. I looked that up, by the way. EMTs arrive and take Gabby into the ambulance. Lily is furious with Sutton and she screams at her. "I can't believe you did this to her! I didn't do anything!" I scream through a clenched jaw. Lily screams at Sutton, saying that she could have killed them, and Sutton's response is to say, "She had it under control the whole time." Did you now? I'm not convinced. I think you chose the wrong time for a prank and it was incredibly restless. And I think, you know what? She fucking knows this and that's why she's not admitting her guilt. Lily also challenges this assertion, saying, well, how were they supposed to know? Good point. Lily lays into Sutton hard. You have no concept of other people's feelings. You just treat us like toys, doing whatever you want, whenever you want. Watch what you say, I warn her, aware of the medic around us. There it is. She didn't deny it, or say it wasn't true. She told Lily to watch what she was saying. Sutton knows she fucked up big time, but instead of apologizing, she's doubling down. Lily then turns to Madeline and asks if she agrees with her, saying, Sutton's a user. And then Lily delivers a low blow by saying, look how she toyed with your brother. She's the reason he left. Oh my god, look. Lily has every reason to be upset with Sutton and feeling unsafe. But saying that she's the reason why Thayer left is really uncruel. Now, spoiler alert for the next book, Sutton is not the reason why he left. The fight nearly escalates physically, but Charlotte and Madeline manage to hold the girls back. Sutton then pivots, trying to ensure everybody tells the same story to the police, and Lily's disgusted by this suggestion. But Sutton threatens her with social exclusion if she dare tell. Before they come to an agreement, the cops come to talk to the girls. However, Lily opts to go in the ambulance with her sister, saying the others can speak for her, conceding her position to Sutton. And when the ambulance leaves, Sutton receives a message from Lily. If there's something wrong with my sister and if she doesn't make it, I'm going to kill you. Sutton dismisses the message and then deletes it. Back in the present, Emma wakes up disoriented and possibly bleeding. Through her blurred vision, she sees a figure moving. When her vision clears up, she sees an old chalkboard and there's a message written on it that is obviously meant for her. Stop digging, or next time I'll hurt you for real. She calls out to the figure that she assumes wrote the message. However, before anything else happens, she passes out again. She wakes up sometime later in the nurse's office with Madeline sitting by her side. When she sees that Emma is awake, Madeline is visibly relieved, and Emma asks what happened, and Madeline tells her, a light fell from the rafters and almost hit you. It was crazy. It almost landed on your head.
Think of me
Emma asks about the message on the chalkboard, but Madeline doesn't know what she's talking about. She asks if Gabby and Lily wrote the message, and Madeline discloses that Gabby and Lily were on stage when the light fell, dismissing it as a freak accident, and the lights were super old. Madeline then says she has to get back to the party and insists Emma rests more before she leaves. Emma's mind is still spiraling over Gabby and Lily and the series of events that led up to the light dropping, and she notes that the light hit the spot where Lily was supposed to be standing. Emma wakes up again and then finds Ethan standing over her. He asks her what happened, and she tells him, and when she tells him about the message, he acts really squirrely. When she finished, Ethan stood up halfway, his arm muscles taut as he held his body inches above the chair. Is the message still there? No, someone erased it. He sank into the chair again. There were a ton of people backstage as soon as the crash happened. Someone could have seen all of that. Don't you think? I think it's weird that you only relaxed when she said the message was erased. Instead of reassuring her, he gaslights her some more, telling her, are you sure it wasn't a dream? Fuck you, bro. Emma doesn't notice and just continues the conversation, and she tells Ethan about the conversation that she had with Madeline and Charlotte about Gabby landing in the hospital due to the train prank. Just as she's telling him, she remembers the pill bottle that Gabby was shaking right before Emma passed out, and remembers that the medication was Topamax. I've seen Gabby popping pills before, but I always thought it was a party thing. Do you have your phone? I need to Google it. Emma, Ethan said, urgency in his voice. Someone just told you to stop digging. Emma sniffed. I thought you didn't believe me about the board. I'm glad she called him out. But he reassures her that he definitely believes her now. He just hoped it wasn't real. Sure. Emma decides to take this opportunity to snoop in the students' private medical files. HIPAA violations, anyone? It's a little bit ironic when he tells her that, maybe she should stop looking. Funny how Ethan didn't stop her from invading someone's privacy. This leads Emma to discover that Topamax is used to treat epilepsy, and notes that Gabby's first seizure was in July, as was the train prank. Emma hypothesizes that this must have made the Twitter twins angry enough to hurt Sutton over a very treatable medical issue that could be triggered by a lot of things. Girl, be so fucking for real. Ethan, again, doesn't push back on this. If you wanted to play devil's advocate, here's one where he could push back. I'm no lawyer, but I'm pretty sure any defense attorney worth their salt would tear down that assessment immediately. Also, in this hypothetical situation where the twins were accused of this crime, let's also remember they're blonde white teenagers from a well-off family who can afford a decent defense attorney. You need a lot stronger evidence than a weak medical connection. That's if a judge would even sign off on that. I don't fucking know. Beyond a reasonable doubt, people. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just simply approaching this as if I were maybe a hypothetical, unbiased juror with no prior information, and this were presented to me in court as a juror. I'd have a very hard time convicting these girls based on that. Anyways, Emma decides to do some Twitter snooping to find something incriminating about the twins. At first she doesn't find anything, but then she finds whatever the Twitter/X equivalent is for their Finstas, complete with some vague and allegedly damning, but let's be real, not so incriminating tweets. On August 31st, Gabby's Finsta Twitter, do you think we should? Lily Finsta. Definitely no turning back now. And then on the night of Charlotte's sleepover, Lily Finsta. She thinks we're so stupid. Gabby Finsta. She'll know the truth soon enough. Lily Finsta. She'd better be careful. The most damning tweet in Emma's mind is from that same afternoon from Gabby's Finsta. Less than an hour to go, that bitch is going down. Emma immediately decides that they're talking about her, even though these tweets are vague at best and don't point to anyone or anything specific. She insists that Ethan emailed the transcripts to her, and again, he's not stopping to point out actual flaws in her logic. Emma starts to stress and whines about how she wants a break from all of this. Understandable, but I don't know. Go to somebody who could actually help you. Find a private investigator or a lawyer who could take this case on pro bono. Anyone besides fucking Ethan. Ugh. Then she gets an idea. She invites Ethan to homecoming as her date, but he drops a nuclear bomb on her head and says, "Oh, haha. Funny you should ask, I have a date already." Emma tries to keep her composure, but Ethan once more decides to be a huge fucking dick. The look that crossed on Ethan's face was comically grouchy, almost petulant. I mean, you said you just wanted to be friends. You said you weren't interested. I know I did. Emma's voice took on that annoying chirpy quality it always got when she tried hard to sound upbeat. It would have been his friends, but this is totally for the better. I'm happy for you. You'll have so much fun. She leaves after that, saying that she has to get back to the stage for the party or something. Oh my god. He's such a dick. He's punishing her for setting a very real boundary. He could have just apologized and said, "Hey, I already have a date. I asked somebody else. I asked before I knew you were interested," or whatever. But he just had to add, "You just wanted to be friends." He's putting it all on her. He already sat there and has made his feelings on high school stuff very clear. Once again, I think he got this date just to punish her. When you see who his date is, I think you'll understand why I come to that conclusion. Again, why it's so fucked up. So the day before the dance, Emma and Laurel are shopping for homecoming at Spirit Halloween. Because the theme is Halloween homecoming? Whatever. I mean, this isn't like any high school I went to, but granted, I only went to one high school in a small town, but like homecoming and prom were occasions where you dressed up to the nines and you wanted to look hot as fuck. Costumes were reserved for Halloween. I don't know, maybe like I said, it was a long time ago. Emma's in a shitty mood and she makes a comment to Laurel as she's trying to find the perfect costume. It's just a dance. What's the big deal? Laurel responds with, "Well, Caleb really likes Halloween and I want everything to be just right." They chat about this boy. Laurel really likes him, and Emma tells Laurel that she thinks Caleb is super cute, which makes Laurel really happy, as Sutton's, Emma's, approval clearly means the world to her. It's a big sister thing. Laurel mentions that the Twitter twins informed her that Caleb was interested in her too, possibly, and Emma asks if the Lion Gang girls have been forgiven for the prank, which according to Laurel, the twins thought it was funny once the party got going. I mean, yeah, it kind of is. It's one of those stories that you tell your friends, colleagues, and kids for years to come. Emma is overreacting to the Twitter twins' possible involvement, obviously, because she's grasping at straws trying to solve this murder on her own, and partially because she's afraid of them escalating against her, which is, in hindsight, is silly since the bikinis on stage was really mostly harmless and the Twitter twins obviously came prepared. Laurel asks Emma if she's taking Alex to the dance. Emma corrects her once again, saying that Alex is a girl, and the name Alex is short for Alexandra. And it's here that Emma actually confesses to Laurel that she likes Ethan. Laurel is surprised. Ethan Landry isn't friends with people. Laurel sounded incredulous. He's Mr. I want to be alone. Yeah, Laurel's clearly picked up on his pick-me boy ways. I love this. Laurel clocks his bullshit immediately. But since he's fucking manipulated Emma into thinking he's her hero, she doesn't pick up on it. I really wish Emma could confide in Laurel, and I really have a feeling that Laurel would probably put together all these red flags and say, something isn't right, you better steer clear and let's get you some actual help. But alas, this isn't one of those stories. Laurel tells Emma to ask him to homecoming, and when Emma reveals he already has a date, Laurel encourages Emma to steal him as a date, telling her, well, you've done it before. Laurel went on, look, Sutton, I've seen him staring at you in school, and when he showed up at your party with those flowers, it's obvious he's got it bad for you. Well. As you'll know, I've also been making my way through all the Wicked novels for several months. And there's so much romantic hemming and hawing. Do they like me? Do they don't? What am I doing? I can't. So much drama. I honestly think it'd be funny if we dropped Laurel into that universe. A lot of these characters could probably benefit from this directness. Especially if you're a character in that universe whose first name starts with the letter L. But that's enough for intergenre series crossover. Feeling grateful for Laurel, Emma squeezes her hand, which surprises her, and for a hot second, she actually does consider telling Laurel the truth. But then she receives a text from Alex, which gives her an idea. She decides she needs to rescue Floyd, Sutton's car, or maybe it's the Clock of Time Dragon if we're in the Wicked version. Emma asks Laurel to take her to the impound lot, but Laurel says she can't, and conveniently this is when Lily and Gabby show up, offering her a ride. And watching next to Emma, Ghost Sutton remarks that it's like watching a pair of lionesses corner their prey. They drive Emma to the impound lot and they exchange some barbs back and forth. Emma insults Lily's outfit. Lily tries to defend herself by saying Vogue said that mixing patterns was in, and Gabby defends Lily by saying, I would have thought you'd know something that basic, Lily scoffed. What's with the attitude today, ladies? Emma tried to sound exasperated. Are you still not over that prank during your court party? Please, Sutton. Lily opened the front passenger door. We were over it before it even began. One hectic and stress-filled ride later, they make it to the impound lot, and Emma promptly exits the Twitter twins' car, and the girls leave. However, there's a problem. When she goes to get the car, Emma discovers that Sutton actually already got her car out of the impound lot about a month ago. In fact, she got it on August 31st, the night that Emma presumes she's died. This is a problem. Now, Ghost Sutton remembers picking up her car from the parking lot and then seeing a text come through on her phone. She doesn't remember who it's from because the memory fades out then. Emma panics. Should she say it wasn't her signature and report the car stolen? But what if she did, and then the police found Sutton's body in the trunk? As soon as that happened, Emma would be arrested without any other evidence, and she was the most likely suspect in her sister's murder, the unlucky twin trying to escape poverty. The day of homecoming has arrived, and the girls go to Charlotte's house to get ready and take pictures for Facebook. Emma is going sans date, not having bothered to ask anybody else since Ethan and his bullshit. Like I said, I really think she should have taken Madeline's advice and asked literally anyone else. Like, she could have just pointed somebody and been like, I'm going with you. Wonder if that would work on my husband. So I asked my husband and he said yes, he would like that. Because I asked him, I was like, would you like it if I asked you to a homecoming dance? And he said that would be nice. Emma just decides that Sutton would have just tried to make going stat cool. Sutton, in her Mystery Science Theater 3000 commentary, does not agree, however. Emma had a lot to learn about being me. The only place I went stag was to the bathroom. Everyone is gathered at Charlotte's when the Twitter twins showed up, and Emma's not happy to see them. Charlotte invites them in for a drink, and then Emma takes this opportunity to question Madeline. What are they doing here? She murmured to Madeline as she crossed the kitchen. Madeline took a big swig of her rum and Diet Coke. It was the least we could do after our botched prank. They should leave, Emma blurted. Madeline wiped the condensation from her drink with a pink cocktail napkin and let out a sigh. Sutton, don't be like that. It's not like we're going to ask them to be part of the lying game. Chill. Emma just makes nice with Gabby and Lily for the time being, and the girls share that they don't have dates, and Gabby and Lily are just a little too happy to hear that Emma doesn't have a date. Oh, I guess we'll be spending a lot of time together if we're all going alone. The words ooze from Gabby's mouth like a threat. One-on-one Sutton time. How lucky can we be? How lucky, Emma echoed, hollow dread settling over her. The Twitter twins eventually retreat into doing what they do best, tweeting. Emma takes this opportunity to spy on them, only discovers that their Finsta/alt Twitter profiles have been taken down. They've beaten Emma at her own game. Looking for something? Gabby teased. Did you think we wouldn't notice your snooping? Lily added. Later, everyone arrives at homecoming. Emma tasks Ethan to tell him about the Twitter twins' Finsta/alt Twitter's being taken down, and he tells her not to go anywhere alone tonight. Sure, buddy, whatever. At the dance, they run into Nisha and Garrett dressed in couples Viking costumes. Haven't they been together for like 5 minutes? Also, their whole relationship is based off of "We hate Sutton." When did they have time to coordinate that? In between sniping about how much they don't like Emma? Of course, Nisha has to open her mouth and tell Emma, "Oh, Sutton, did you come here all alone?" In the most condescending tone of voice possible. Who the fuck cares? It's high school homecoming, not your sister's baby shower when everybody you know is asking you, when are you gonna have a baby? When I damn well feel like it. Actually, right now I have kids. But anyway, whatever. Madeline mediates the situation by moving Emma away, and then she asks if Emma is okay. Emma says she's fine, and it's just weird, and they have a very lovely moment. Madeline linked her fingers through Emma's. "You're better off without him. Honestly, I didn't want to tell you this when you guys were going out, but I think Garrett dragged you down. He's sort of understated, like white bread, and you're Sutton Mercer, the opposite of ordinary." Emma looked into Madeline's bright blue eyes, touched. Sutton's friends may not be perfect, but they were loyal. Then Madeline loses me when she says this. "And Charlotte told me that when she dated Garrett, he was weirdly obsessed with the Summer Olympics." Madeline went on, snickering. "Especially women's gymnastics. Can you imagine? They're linebacker-ish gnomes." Excuse me. As a dedicated, lifelong super gym fan here, that's the one thing that makes him vaguely interesting. Let's see, this was 2010, so that was the year my queen, Aliyah Mustafina, won the World All-Around title on Hope and a Prayer. And the year before that, Bridget Sloan was the world champion. And we were, 4 years into the Open Code? And in NCAA, Oklahoma was not dominant yet. UCLA won the NCAA title that year. I mean, he could have been a proud member of the Gymternet discussing the merits of if there were too many Yurchenko foals in NCAA, or has the Almanar completely taken over the elite word yet? That would at least make him interesting. Sheesh. I better move this discussion on before I make the whole thing a discussion about scoring trends at the NCAAs this year. Madeline moves her arm, making the sleeve of her costume fall down, revealing some bruises on her arm. And Madeline says it was nothing, but Emma notices a burn mark on Madeline's hand and a bruise on her calf and on her neck. Emma gently tells Madeline that she can confide in her. Madeline just simply says it doesn't matter. Emma pushes back and says, yes, in fact, this does matter. And this is when Madeline confesses, saying that it was because of the cigarette. And she parrots a narrative of saying she deserved it because she broke a rule. It's kind of another reason why victims don't always come forward. They think they deserve it, or they think they did something wrong. And I'm sure, I don't know, Mr. Vega has told her this so many times that she believes it. And also, I'm pretty sure Mr. Vega probably holds some kind of respected place in the community, so Madeline coming forward with this and saying this is what happens to me on a regular basis may not always be believed. People don't always do the right thing, and abusers unfortunately know this, and they use this to their advantage, and this works for many reasons. Obviously, number one, this is a patriarchal society, and we're already primed to not believe women when they come forward. Goodness gracious. I mean, terrible men are rewarded all the time for just being men. They can have a documented history of abusing women, all their previous partners. When the wrong woman comes forward and says this happened to me, everyone is quick to judge her and say she did it. It's her fault. It's the whole perfect victim complex. It's really just like what Princess Weeks said. She had this really great video about safety theater and true crime. I'll link it down below. She basically says the societal expectation is that the only good victim is a dead one, because messy human victims can live and breathe and not act like you respect, and they don't garner sympathy or compassion, but a dead victim who can't speak for themselves is a saint. That's again why I push back against Sutton, saying that she must have done something to deserve her death, or because of who she was in life, or Madeline thinking she deserves severe punishment for something that's a teenage thing to do. Victims' choices are not the reason why they are hurt or killed. That is the fault of their abuser/killer. Thank you for coming to my mid-video TED Talk. Sutton has a memory of Madeline's father becoming enraged at her, and she ran after him, and then Sutton heard a noise downstairs but didn't do anything because she was afraid to act. Can't blame a teenager for not acting or knowing exactly what she was supposed to do. especially in the case of a grown man becoming or possibly becoming violent. She could be hurt as well. Emma at least allows Madeline to feel safe to open up to her in that moment, and she asks her if that's the reason that she called on the 31st, and Madeline confirms her suspicions. Emma apologizes to Madeline, saying it's okay, but luckily Charlotte was the one that answered Madeline's call, and she's the one that stayed with her the whole night. And she admits that unfortunately she wasn't the only target for abuse in that household. Believe it or not, this is nothing compared to what Dad used to do to Thayer. She peeked at Emma. Thayer told you, right? When Emma tells Madeline what's happening is wrong, it's clear that this internalized victim blaming goes deep. She tells Emma he'd find a way to twist it around and make it my fault. My mom would side with him too, and it is my fault. If I didn't keep screwing up, things would be fine. No, Madeline, no. They just moved the goalpost. I'll link some resources in the description if you need help, so there you go. They go back into the dance and they have a sweet moment, but then Emma is cornered by Garrett. So Garrett drags Emma into a supply closet. That's great. Let's just trap a vulnerable woman in a closet with a volatile man. Nisha, why didn't you dump this guy like yesterday? He wants to confront Emma about hanging out with another guy, which is implied to be Ethan, who is also trash. Emma asks where he heard this from. Nisha, duh. But he's still clearly mad at Emma. Sutton, what did I do to deserve this? This summer was amazing. I know you thought so too. You did nothing all summer but beg and beg me to sleep with you. The day I want to, you freak. Did I wait too long? Had you already moved on? Is that why you dumped me? Sir, you are not entitled to her body even if she was asking you. Consent is not assumed. And the fact that Garrett is treating sex like it's something that he was owed is just what makes the situation so uncomfortable. Actually, no, this is beyond uncomfortable. This is fucking dangerous. Full stop. Then he admits that no, he just brought Nisha to make Sutton, Emma, jealous. My God. This man is trash. I just can't with his entitled behavior. Oh my God. Ugh. He leaves. And then Emma eventually bumps into Ethan on her way out. And guess who his date is? Bitchy Samantha from Click. That was an intentional dig at her specifically. Now, why are these women fighting over these milquetoast men? They aren't worth it. I understand that these are teenagers, but you still don't need to debase yourself for the worst guy ever. There are plenty of men who aren't dicks out there for you to date. Nisha and Samantha are just being used as props in some boy's jealous revenge game. And all of these women deserve better. They deserve boys who actually like them and respect them and don't treat them like emotional warfare. Emma escapes outside again, and then Ethan finds her and he tells her, Sam's really nice once you get to know her. I'm sure she's very lovely, but she doesn't deserve to be your revenge date, Ethan. Then he tells Emma he talked to Sam about her and she's willing to drop the shoplifting charges. I'm not sure she has the authority to do that. It would probably be the decision of the shop owners and not a retail clerk. Emma calls his ass out. Was that the trade-off? You take her to the dance, she lets me walk? How nice of you. How martyr-like. Ethan gets butthurt and is all, ugh, you just wanted to be friends. So, to English, that means blah, 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 I suck. After this, Emma chooses to go back inside and join the gang. She has a moment with Madeline where Madeline's date, Davin, has this cringe Freddy Krueger costume and he begins to annoy her. And then she tells Emma, I should have gone stag like you, Sutton, which is funny. But also, Madeline's always going to tell the story about how her date to senior homecoming took his Freddy Krueger costume a little too seriously. After the date, the girls head to Madeline's car to head to their post-homecoming Mount Lemon camping trip. Emma is irritated to discover that the Twitter twins have been invited. Madeline once again says it's only fair. Emma counters with, inviting them to get ready with us was only fair. He thinks this is a setup for another prank. In the car, Gabby and Lily get into a very obviously staged fight about some rando named Kevin and blah blah blah. Lily demands to be let out at a gas station and Madeline obliges. Emma relaxes a little. She can hinder one Twitter twin, can't she? The group makes their way to Mount Lemon and then they have to hike up in the dark before they can find this hot springs or wherever they're going to. So on the way up they play Two Truths and a Lie. When it's Emma's turn, she decides to reveal her hand early and just say she worked at the New York roller coaster for a summer, which is something that's true for Emma, but is not true for Sutton. Then it's Gabby's turn. Her statements. 1. My sister and I cheated to get on the homecoming Halloween dance court. 2. Kevin and I made out in the haunted house by the jar full of fake eyeballs. And 3. She paused for effect. Crickets chirped. I once touched a dead body. This makes Emma nervous, and tagging along with her, Mystery Science Theater ghost Sutton wonders if it was her body. Laurel says the dead body is a lie. Madeline pipes up saying if that was the lie, that means Lily and Gabby cheated to get on the homecoming court. And she asked, you couldn't do that, could you? Gabby's response is, I don't know, could I? And she twists around and stares straight at Emma. Emma couldn't see her features, but she could tell Gabby was smirking. What do you think I'm capable of, Sutton? They abruptly stop, causing Madeline and Charlotte to question Gabby's knowledge of the location of the supposed hot springs. Gabby swears up and down that she knows the way, but the only way to get across these hot springs is to hop across this random crevice right here, because that's not going to go badly at all. When it's Emma's turn, Gabby physically stops her. Emma goes into survival mode and screams, "Get away from me," at Gabby before she shoves her off the cliff. Emma begins to panic, getting upset that the fact that she was capable of any kind of violence. The other girls start to panic as well. Charlotte demands that Emma tell her what happened, and Emma just says that Gabby grabbed her. "Haven't you put Gabby through enough, Sutton?" Charlotte screamed. "What if she's hurt?" "I told you I didn't mean to do it," Emma shouted, her head spinning. The girls go and search for Gabby, and one by one, the girls decide that they should split up and look for Gabby. Madeline says she's going to go down the mountain to get cell service to call for help. This leaves Emma alone, and then once she's alone, Emma hears a faint moaning, and then she knows it's Gabby. It's such an obvious prank setup. Emma follows the noise and it leads her to the cave. Suddenly, there's a loud noise and a pebble avalanche buries the cave entrance, and then Emma begins to panic, and then someone grabs her wrist, and then she's face to face with Lily. Emma's still in panic mode, and she asks Lily what she's doing there, and then Lily answers. "Come on, Sutton," Lily cackled. "You know the answer to that, don't you?" Emma takes this to mean that this was a staged setup to hurt her. Emma starts to panic some more, asking Lily to talk. "What's there to talk about?" Lily asked in a low voice. "Please let me go," Emma begged, trying to pull away. Lily gripped her tightly. "I screwed up, Lily. I'm sorry, but I won't do it again. I promise." Lily made a tisk noise with her tongue. "I warned you, Sutton, but you didn't listen." Lily takes Emma by Sutton's necklace and begins to choke her with it, and this sends Sutton back into her memory on the night of the train prank. The Lion Game girls, along with Lily and her and Gabby's parents, are at the hospital waiting for news of Gabby's condition. The Lion Game girls are just sitting there in petulant silence, and then Sutton feels a pang of guilt. "I'm sorry," I say quietly to them, knowing that they're all privately thinking I'm a huge bitch. "I didn't know this would..." Charlotte isn't having it. "Just shut up about it, okay? Don't make me regret not saying anything to the cops." The ER doc makes an appearance at this moment, and he tells them that Gabby had a grand mal seizure, which is now known as a tonic-clonic seizure. Doctor explains that this could be caused by an infection, but Gabby didn't seem to have an infection. And then Lily asks if a seizure can be caused by scaring someone, a comment that is obviously directed towards Sutton. The doctor dismisses this idea and tells the family that Gabby has epilepsy and it's probably just been dormant up till now. Lily shows her ableism and says, "Epilepsy? But that's like a serious disease. Only freaks have epilepsy," prompting a stern look from her father. The doctor tells the girls It was good that they were with Gabby when she was having a seizure and praising them for calling the ambulance when they did. And Sutton feels a sense of shame and wonders if the others are going to say, actually, we didn't call for Gabby. We called because Sutton pulled a fucking shitty prank on us. No one says anything, and then the ER staff allows everyone in to see Gabby. There's a group hug, and then Lily whispers in Sutton's ear, "Mark my words, the prank might have ended okay, but Gabby and I are going to get you. You aren't going to know when, you aren't going to know where, but we'll get you back, one way or another." Sutton, having regained her confidence, shoots back at Lily. "I'd like to see you try." Lily doesn't blink. "Game on, Sutton. Game on," I answer back. The memory cuts off there. It's on Sutton. Back in the cave, Lily is looming over Emma while she begs for her not to hurt her. Emma's life flashes before her eyes, and then realizes that no one will mourn her as her. She silently tells Sutton that she's sorry. "I'm sorry, Sutton," she thought. "I tried my best. I know, Emma. I tried to place my hand over my sister's to comfort her, to let her know that I was right there." This is when Lily leans down and whispers into Emma's ear, "Gotcha," and realize Lily is in hysterics. The cave entrance opens up, and then Gabby appears, also crying, "Gotcha!" She is delighted. "You were so scared. We got you so good." Yeah, it was a prank. I called it. Turns out the OG Lion Game members were also in on the prank. Lily and Gabby gleefully explain how they pulled off the prank, from scouting the location to setting up their staged fight. Lily even has a recording of Emma's desperate pleas to save her life. This was definitely payback for the train prank. Another almost deadly prank. Lovely. Oh, and it turns out the train charm was a gift from the Twitter twins as well. Gabby says it best. "Who knew the unflappable Sutton Mercer could get so frightened?" Emma realized that while this was all a prank, that means she's back to square one when it comes to solving Sutton's murder. Gabby and Lily are still standing there looking at Emma, desperate for her approval. And Emma feels bad for Gabby, and so does Sutton. I felt bad for Gabby too, but more than that, I felt embarrassed. I'd casually brushed off her seizure. I'd insisted over and over that no one dare tell what I'd done. Like I was the most important person in the room. Was it possible I treated my murderer cruelly like this too? Had I crossed the wrong person, someone who'd sought revenge with more than just a prank? Someone who'd paid me back by taking my life? Once again, it was wrong for Sutton to convince her friends not to come forward, but the internalized victim blaming is not okay. It wasn't Sutton's fault for what happens to her. It was the fault of the person who decided to take her life. Emma declares that she can make an exception and nominate the Twitter twins for a Lion Game membership, and they act like they're getting a nomination to the Supreme Court or whatever. But it turns out the Twitter twins are pretty smart. They explain they hacked into the Homecoming Court voting site to vote for themselves. I mean, couldn't they have just used a VPN to trick the server into thinking it's a different computer? The girls agreed to leave the mountain, but before they leave, Emma has one more request of the Twitter twins. Emma pulled Gabby aside. "It was an awesome prank, but next time, maybe don't cut a light fixture so close to my head." Gabby stalked. Even in the blue-black darkness, Emma could see the consternation wash over her face. "You mean the light in the auditorium? We didn't do that. God, Sutton, we're not insane." This means whoever is stalking Emma is playing a way more Dane than a psychologically destabilizing prank. At 2:46 a.m., Emma is awoken by her phone ringing. Who is it but fucking Ethan? Barf. Ethan says he's been calling her all night and asks if Emma got his message because he needs to talk. "Oh, now you want to talk to me," Emma thought, glancing out the window. Emma almost gets it, but she still makes excuses for his nasty ass. She's not sure how she feels about Ethan trolling her house at 3 a.m., but then it's like, well, if it was anyone else, she would have thought it was slightly stalkerish. Girl, what are you doing? This is not just slightly stalkerish. It's not stalker-ish. It is fucking stalking. It's full stop. Stalking. He's been calling you all night, then he drove by your house enough times to know that Madeline's car was there, and you're just happy that he used the damn phone. If you have to qualify it with anyone else, that's your goddamn answer. Send his ass fucking packing. When Emma says it's 3 a.m., he begs and she relents. Girl, this is not romantic. This is scary. Before she goes out to meet him, she finds no less than 6 messages and a billion missed calls from this creep. She's been busy living her life and having fun. When she gets out and talks to him, she tells him that it wasn't Gabby and Lily who killed Sutton and explains that the Twitter twins just wanted to be part of the lying game. She also tells him that they didn't drop the light on her head. They're not the Phantom of the Opera. He is perplexed because they just made so much sense. With Lily going back to retrieve her phone and everything, he's still trying to steer her in the direction that he wants. And Emma just explains it by saying, well, maybe the killer noticed that. Maybe the killer noticed that too, hoping I'd suspect Gabby and Lily because of what Sutton did to them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's happened. Ethan goes on to say that the reason he had to talk to Emma was that Sam filled him in on a rumor that Sutton allegedly hit someone with her car and almost killed them. That could have waited till tomorrow, my dude. That's not really much of a lead because Sam didn't know who it was, or she wouldn't say. Yeah, I'm sure she definitely knew that information. Yep, Sam, a girl who doesn't even go to the same school as Sutton, apparently knew that she hit someone with her car. Sure. Emma asks Ethan if he's heard anything like that before, and he shrugs and says, well, maybe it's not true. My dude, why in God's name would you wait hours outside a girl's house just to tell her something that may or may not even be fucking true? You just think you're entitled to her time and attention, and I fucking hate you. Emma fills him in the detail about Sutton actually picking up her car on the 31st. Emma thinks that maybe she had a reason not to tell any of her friends. Maybe that rumor is true. Ethan shows a little bit of logic and reason and says, whoa, you're jumping to conclusions. Sutton wasn't always nice, but she wasn't a killer. Yeah, I wanted to add. Now Emma thought I was a hit and run kind of girl. Ethan apologizes to Emma about Sam, saying that she really was just a friend that you used to get back at the girl who wouldn't go out with you. They argue, and Emma tells Ethan that he can go out with Samantha. She clearly likes him and all. And then he tells her, I highly doubt that she likes me after tonight. I spent the whole time asking questions about you, avoiding you, coming to talk to you in the parking lot, obsessing over whether or not you were okay. Emma brings up the fact that he ditched her once Sam showed up, and then Ethan petulantly counters with, she was my date! Your date you were using to get back at the girl you actually wanted to date, you twat waffle. Ethan reveals that Sam told him that she was not the girl he wanted. You don't fucking say. Ethan is then like, well, I know you just wanted to be friends, but I can't just be friends. Bro, why could this not wait till an hour when people aren't fucking sleeping? Unfortunately, this works. Then he and Emma finally kiss. Yawn. Boo. Their romantic moment is interrupted by the sound of a twig snapping, and then Emma decides she needs to leave. Ethan tells her to lock the door as she leaves, and then she makes it back into the house, but when she goes to the bedroom, she finds a window open. Then the next thing she knows, Emma bumps into somebody who grabs her by the waist, and then a voice whispers in her ear, shh, it's me. This brings an onslaught of memories into Ghost Sutton's head. She remembers a note in her locker, stolen kisses in a desert, and then a volatile fight with her screaming at someone, as if I'd ever want to be with you. You're nothing but a loser. Then Sutton remembers the person to whom the voice belongs, looking like a deer in headlights, literally. The person got ran over by a car. This person spins her around, and then Emma is face to face with Thayer, Madeline's long-lost brother. Well, now we end on a cliffhanger. In the next book, Two Truths and a Lie, we will find out about the complex relationship between Sutton and Thayer. Chaos ensues, people are upset, police are called, it's intense. expect even more entitled behavior from trash men because it's just a thing. At this story, no one believes women. Women don't come forward. It's a fucking cycle. If you like that video, please share your thoughts below and make sure to like and subscribe and do all the things. It all helps either way. I'm glad that you're here and that you made it through this video. You can check out my channel for more gymnastics content, Wicked book analyses, and whatever else I post that suits my fancy. Until next time, bye.